This is the Citizen Effect Podcast.
But for the most part, the successes are what's remembered.
Yeah. And so what do you think was one of your biggest failures in being a young trial lawyer or a young prosecutor in a rural parish?
My biggest failure, probably as a prosecutor in that parish, was as a young prosecutor. I remember one time I had a dope trial. Now, this is probably the worst story I can tell, and I've told it before, and Keith's smiling because he's heard it. And I had never taken evidence class. This is true. I was learning how to try cases by reading appellate records and reading great lawyers and great defense attorneys, some of the greatest defense attorneys we have here in town.
And also some very bad examples are written into appeals records as well.
You know, I just had the benefit of reading great stuff. I don't remember reading anything bad. I remember reading homicide cases. In any case, what I didn't read in there was how to admit a bag of marijuana into evidence. So I called a case up and decided I'm going to try this marijuana case. He threw the marijuana on the ground. Officer walks up, sees it right next to his shoe. If you're an unseasoned person, you say that is an easy case.
And mind you, this is a judge-only trial because it's a misdemeanor. Is that right?
That is correct.
So you didn't have an audience of jurors who were...
And I picked a judge who I'd known since I was a kid so I could impress him with my skills.
How did that go?
I'm sure he was impressed, but probably not with my skills. At that point, I'd only been practicing about 3 months. I called the case up. I get the officer on the stand. I asked him, did he take some marijuana off the individual? He said he did. I said, you bring it with you? He'd brought it with him. I said, could you show it to the judge? Yes. I said, you look at it? He said, yes, I saw it. So that appeared to be the same marijuana that you took off the person? It does. I said, I'd offer and admit it into evidence. Now, every person who's a lawyer that's listening to this is saying, that's not coming in. Me, not having taken evidence class, 3 months in on the job, I didn't read any marijuana convictions on appeal. Amazingly, those don't get appealed because they're misdemeanors. The best you get is a fine. The judge denied it. And after about the 6th time I kept asking this officer, does it look to be the same? The nice defense attorney in Morehouse Parish, whose name might rhyme with Scott McElroy, who so politely dug me in the back and showed me there was a number on the evidence thing, and if the number on the evidence bag corresponded with the number on the evidence log, and then on the analysis sheet, you could get it all in. We walked back out front. I got it all in, and the judge, rightfully so, said, great, you've proved there's marijuana and you proved there's somebody standing next to it, but you forgot to prove that he ever possessed it. And at which point, he rightfully dismissed the case. And it was probably the best lesson I learned. I went out after that day and I researched every evidence foundation I could find. I had them wrote down. I pulled them out of appellate records. And still to this day, if I go to trial, I have every foundation, the questions needed to establish that wrote down, the law behind it. So that was my greatest failure. And that great defense attorney took liberty as he ate with my boss every Sunday to remind him for the next 6 years that I didn't get a bag of marijuana into evidence. But it was my best failure.
If you like that clip from our podcast, make sure that you subscribe, ring the bell, and like this video so that you can know whenever we are posting new videos, clips, and full-length podcast. You can find them here on YouTube. You can also find them on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere else that you get your podcast.